2 days after my son's wedding, the venue manager called me at 8:36 in the morning. His voice was low, careful. "Mr. Holloway," he said, "we rechecked the footage from Saturday night. You need to come alone." I stood in my kitchen with one hand wrapped around a coffee mug, staring at my wife Marlene sitting quietly by the window. Her wrist was swollen. A dark bruise had spread across her elbow. When she came home from our son's wedding, she had barely spoken, took off her shoes, sat on the edge of the bed and whispered, "I just fell." But something in her voice had not sounded right. My name is Dennis Holloway. I am 69 years old, retired from municipal planning in Charlotte, North Carolina. My wife and I had been married for 42 years. Marlene was never dramatic. She was the kind of woman who apologized when someone else bumped into her, kept extra blankets in the car in case somebody got cold, remembered every neighbor's child's birthday, and she loved our son Nathan more than anyone in this world. That was why watching her come home from his wedding looking frightened felt wrong, in a way I could not explain. Nathan had married a woman named Addison Blake. Addison was polished, smart, beautiful in the way magazines describe, worked in luxury real estate, always spoke carefully, knew exactly how to make people feel important when she needed something from them. At first, Marlene adored her. "She makes Nathan feel confident," she told me after they got engaged. And Nathan did seem happy, smiled more, dressed better, talked about the future like something he'd finally earned. So when he asked if we would help pay for the wedding, I said yes. I paid for the venue deposit, the photographer, the rehearsal dinner. Not because Nathan demanded it, because Marlene wanted one perfect day for him. The wedding was held at an old estate outside Charlotte. White stone walls, high ceilings, a long garden path leading to the reception hall. Marlene wore a pale blue dress she'd bought weeks earlier. She looked beautiful. "Do you think Nathan will notice?" she asked before we left. "He always notices you," I told her. That is the sentence I regretted later. At the wedding, things felt strange almost immediately. Addison barely acknowledged Marlene, hugged her quickly during photographs, then moved on. Nathan seemed distracted every time Marlene tried to talk to him. Addison appeared beside him with another guest, another task, another reason to pull him away. By dinner, Marlene had gone quiet. I asked if she was all right. She gave me a small smile, just tired. Then halfway through the reception, she walked outside alone. I watched her through the glass doors standing near the garden steps. A few minutes later, Addison followed. Nathan went after them. I assumed they were talking. I assumed it was family. I assumed wrong. 20 minutes later, Marlene came back inside, her face pale, her hair slightly loose. She said she had tripped on the stone path. Nathan did not come back with her. Addison did. And when Addison saw me looking at Marlene's bruised arm, she said, "She's fine. It was just a little fall." The words came too quickly, too practiced. But Marlene squeezed my hand under the table. "Please, not tonight," she whispered. So I took her home. 2 days later, the venue manager called. His name was Calvin Moore. He met me in a small office behind the reception hall, looking uncomfortable before I even sat down. "I'm sorry to involve myself," he said, "but one of our staff noticed Mrs. Holloway seemed upset. We checked the exterior footage because of the injury report." "Injury report?" I asked. "The bartender saw her arm swelling and documented it in case medical help was needed." Calvin turned his monitor toward me. "Mr. Holloway, I need you to see this." The video showed the garden path. Marlene stood near the stone steps holding the railing. Then Addison walked into frame. Nathan followed a few seconds later. No sound at first, but I could see Addison speaking sharply. Marlene's posture changed. She looked down. Then Nathan stepped closer, pointed toward the house. Marlene shook her head. Addison moved closer, too close. Then she shoved Marlene. Not hard enough to look violent from far away, but hard enough. Marlene lost her balance, her foot slipped on the stone edge. She fell down 3 steps and hit her arm against the railing. For 1 second, nobody moved. Then Nathan looked toward the house, not at his mother, not at her injury, toward the house, checking if anyone had seen. Addison bent down, said something to Marlene, then looked directly into the camera. No sound, but her expression was clear, cold and annoyed. Not worried. Calvin paused the video, my hands flat on the desk. I could feel my heartbeat in my palms. Then he opened a second clip, this one with audio, from a camera near the staff entrance. Addison's voice was clear. She was supposed to stay inside and stop embarrassing us. Marlene's voice barely audible. I only wanted to talk to Nathan. Then Nathan said something that changed everything. Mom, just leave it alone. You always make things harder. There are sentences a man can hear once and never recover from. That was one of them. My wife had spent 34 years making Nathan's life easier. Worked extra shifts when he was in college. Drove 4 hours through a storm when his car broke down. Used her own savings to help him through his first year after graduation. And on his wedding night, when she asked for one conversation, he told her she made things harder. I went home. Marlene was still in the living room, hadn't moved from the chair by the window. I sat beside her, placed my hand over hers. I know you did not fall, I said. Her face changed. For a moment she looked like a little girl caught trying not to cry. Then she whispered, I did not want to ruin his wedding. He ruined it, Marlene, not you, I said. She cried then, quietly, not with anger, with the kind of grief that comes when your own child chooses someone else's cruelty over your love. She told me Addison had accused her of making comments about the wedding budget, true only because Marlene had quietly asked why the florist had been paid twice. Addison had been using our contribution for things Nathan didn't know about. Private upgrades, designer gifts, a separate honeymoon villa. Marlene had noticed the invoices. Wanted to ask Nathan. Addison didn't want questions. Nathan didn't want conflict, so they tried to silence her. The next morning I called an attorney. Not Nathan, not Addison, an attorney. Her name was Claire Benton. She reviewed the wedding contracts, payment records, the footage from the venue. Then she found what I hadn't known. The final payment for the estate had come from my account, but the contract was in Nathan's name, and Addison had signed several add-on charges without authorization, charges she'd blamed on Marlene. The venue had documented everything. The florist had documented everything. The coordinator had documented everything. By Friday, the venue had refunded the unauthorized charges directly to me. By Monday, Addison's employer had been notified after she'd tried using her company account to hide some of the wedding expenses, and Nathan's name was removed from the family investment trust he'd expected to inherit automatically. I did not do it out of rage. I did it because a person who watches their mother get pushed down stone stairs does not get to treat family loyalty as guaranteed. Nathan called me 9 times. I did not answer. Addison sent messages. It was a misunderstanding. Then Marlene is exaggerating, then you are destroying our marriage. That last one almost made me laugh. Because after 42 years with Marlene, I'd learned one thing. A marriage is not destroyed by the truth. It is destroyed by the things people do before the truth arrives. A week later, Nathan came to the house alone. He looked exhausted, not polished, not confident, just ashamed. Dad, I did not know she was going to push Mom, he said at the door. I looked at him for a long time, but you saw her fall. His eyes filled. Yes. And you still stayed at the party. He lowered his head. Yes, that was the part that mattered, not what Addison did, what Nathan chose not to do. I did not yell. I did not call him names. I simply told him Marlene was recovering and did not want to see him yet. Then I closed the door. Some doors are not slammed. They are closed gently, but they still stay closed. It has been 4 months now. Marlene's wrist healed. The bruise faded. But the silence in our house changed. Nathan filed for divorce after learning more about Addison's debts and lies. He's been in counseling. He writes Marlene letters. She reads them sometimes. She has not answered yet. And I do not blame her. Forgiveness is not a wedding gift you hand someone because they finally feel guilty. It is something they earn slowly, with truth, with action, with time. The venue manager thought he was giving me terrible news that day, and he was. But he also gave us something else, proof. Proof that Marlene did not fall. Proof that she was not confused. Proof that the people who hurt her had counted on her silence. They forgot one thing. A quiet woman is not always powerless. Sometimes she is simply waiting for someone who loves her enough to see what really happened.